Hey, what's up YouTube? Houston here. For those of you that are interested in trying to get a personal loan from Navy Federal, what is it that you actually need to do in order to qualify for a personal loan, especially if you have bad credit? Okay, so people are talking about this new hack thing or whatever. Some people are trying to do it on the midnight hack, right? So the midnight hack is where after 12 a.m. between 12 a.m. and 5 a.m. that you apply for a personal loan, and then the following morning they would verify that you were the one that applied for the loan and everything, and then see if you actually qualify. But here's the thing about it. One, you definitely have to become a member. All right, so a lot of people have seen my Navy Federal credit card hack, where people were getting $25,000 credit lines and stuff when they do the midnight hack first, pre-approval, right? Now, with the personal loan, that's a different ball game. That is definitely a different ball game. Now, could you do it on the midnight hack? Possibly, but I'm going to give you some data points that's going to help you, so that way when you're trying to apply, maybe making sure that you have all your dots in a row, so that way, you know, at least you have your foundation laid out. Now, one of the things about it is, why are you going to be using pledge loans in order to try to get a regular loan? All right, or some people want to use the pledge loan to build up to get the flagship Navy Federal credit card. Now, the flagship Navy Federal credit card, for some of you all, it's the black card that most people try to get because it goes up to $80,000. All right, so most people are chasing that card. All right, and the reality of it, most people were under the impression, I should say, that you had to have perfect credit from that. But I made a video explaining to you, it's not about perfect credit. With Navy Federal, one of the biggest things for them is internal score. Now, one of the things I have to let you all know, there's a lot of people that are using these CPNs, credit privacy numbers, okay? And because they are using these numbers and they're burning Navy Federal or whatever, there's a lot of accounts that's going to be getting shut down, okay? And as those accounts getting shut down, what it's going to do somewhere down the line, it may force Navy Federal to start doing an individual audit, okay, in terms of, is this here person's income at the level they say it is? What are the actual credit file? How old is the credit file? You know, so making you or forcing you to submit more documentation, okay? And that's because, again, like I said, people are using CPN, fake social security numbers, to get credit from these financial institutions, all right? So just to give you a heads up. Now, going back to talking about that internal score with Navy Federal, and I also made a video on this in terms of what are the things that the internal score you really need to have to go from 100 up to 450, all right? So internal scores with Navy Federal, I tell you, these are the top things, all right? If you're able to do direct deposit, is number one. Having the flagship account, that's their top tier account. The flagship checking account is their top tier account, so that's the account you want to have. Also, having a savings account, right? Then after you have a savings account, especially if you have bad credit, you want the N Rewards credit card, and then you also want to do the pledge loans, all right? So at least having between 4 out of that 5 or 6 is what you want to have, in order, because they have money market accounts as well as CDs, all right? And here's the thing about it, I have seen people get approved for unsecured credit cards with Navy Federal with a 550 credit score, is because they had multiple accounts with them, all right? And so they had just recently joined, and when they first joined, they opened up all these accounts at once, and so Navy Federal decided to open up the doors to them. So I'm not saying that for you guys, it doesn't take to have perfect credit in order to have a good working relationship with Navy Federal, all right? Now, in terms of that internal score, what's missing. Here's the thing about it with some people, especially like when dealing with the pledge loans. Now, with the pledge loans, especially if you're trying to go after a $20,000, $25,000 personal loan, people are like, well, how many pledge loans should I have? Now, if you have bad credit, then I would definitely tell you at least 2. Now, in terms of how do you take advantage of those pledge loans, one of the things you can do, say that you got a pledge loan for maybe $350, all right, paying off between 80 to 90% of that within the first 30 days, all right, so that's going to help your credit score jump. But and over that next 24 months, spread out the remaining of that pledge loan. Okay, so that's why you want to do it. And like I said, you don't need to overdo it with the pledge loans, all right? One of the things I definitely tell you, if you have bad credit, and you're going after the personal loans with Navy Federal and you have bad credit, at least allow your accounts to season for at least 90 days. Now, that's one thing. Now, here's another thing that a lot of people are not doing, and they're just going straight in. You know how you go on a date and you just met the person, all of a sudden you want to go back to their house and hook up or whatever, and they're making that mistake. I'm just using that analogy so to help you, but they're making a mistake of going straight in. Navy Federal wants to know if are you there just for their goodies, basically their products, or are you trying to build a long-term relationship with them? All right, so that's the reason that I tell you about building up the internal score, letting the account season, because that way they trust you enough to know that, hey, this person wants to be with us long term and wants to have a long-term relationship with us, because we all know they're very generous and very forgiving when you have bad credit. Now, here's something that I would definitely suggest you do, especially if you're going after Navy Federal personal loans. If you have any small balance open revolving accounts, I would try to pay those accounts down to 0. Okay, another thing that will help you in terms of when you're going after personal loans or even credit cards and stuff, having high limit accounts on the file. So that means that even if you have to get like a furniture account or something like that, you know, that's showing 5,000, 10,000 or whatever, that looks good on your credit file to Navy Federal. Now, keep in mind with Navy Federal, they're going to pull your TransUnion. They'll pull your TransUnion file, okay? They pull your TransUnion FICO 9, because that's who they report to, okay? So that's what they're going to be looking at. Now, another interesting thing about it is your DTI, your debt to income ratio. This is also another big factor that people don't talk about. So when you have all these multiple revolving accounts that are open and stuff like that, and you try to go for their personal loans or even their credit cards and stuff, they take into consideration of that as well. That's the reason, like with some of the people that have like a 580 credit score or 550 credit score, what tends to happen is they may have some collections, some old collections, but the difference is they may have most of their revolving balances are paid off or something like that, okay? And so even though they have those collections, they don't have all these open balance accounts. And so that's what makes Navy Federal willing to work with them. Also, your income really makes a difference. All right, so if you're an individual that's married, then you definitely, I always tell people, make sure you include your spouse's income. Okay, make sure you include your spouse's income when you're applying for the credit card. And here's another thing that I see people do when they applying for like a credit card or a loan and stuff. They want to put the spouse on those. I would not do that. I would always try to keep their spouse separate. You can include their income, but I would not make them an authorized user on the account, because it really doesn't benefit them. Yeah, they may have a high limit account, but it's not going to do anything for their credit score, okay? So being able to help them build up their own credit file. Now, you could add them on as an authorized user if you have accounts that are seasoned, like if you have credit cards like the rewards credit card, the flagship credit card, or something like that. If those credit cards are seasoned or whatever, you can add them on. Yes, and that will help help the credit score. All right. Now, one more thing I want to add to this, because this is something that, again, excuse me, wow, almost slipped. This is something that, again, most people don't know. When you wait that, it's at 90 days, 91 days, right? But here's the thing about it. If you join Navy Federal, okay, and you put down a certain amount of income, and within that 90 days, if your income increased, you want to ask them if you can do a financial review to show that, hey, I have added more income. And also, the more income you have, and the field, the open revolving debts, this is how you get that $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 credit cards and stuff, especially if you're using this pledge loan hack, because the pledge loan hack is not only going to help you with the personal loans, but it's going to also help you with the credit cards, especially for those of you that want that flagship, because that's basically just a product exchange, okay? A product exchange, because you can have the rewards card, and after you have a certain amount of time and you're utilizing and paying it on time, I would also make sure that I keep my DTI or my my ratio on that credit cards on all my open accounts, especially with Navy Federal. If I'm trying to go for higher limit credit cards, I would keep them under 10%. Okay, so that tells them that you're able to manage the credit. All right, so if you have any questions more about business credit funding, personal credit funding, click the link in the description and schedule a one-on-one consultation. Thank you.